Thank you so much, Kanal. All right, yes, I'm back. But since you heard from me this morning, we're going to spend a great deal of time having Stefan share a good story that many of us have not heard, I don't think, yet, out of Germany. I was serious about the globalization, so it will keep coming. So first of all, Stefan, we know you're the head of corporate development for TSG Hoffenheim. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about the club itself.
Yes, thank you very much, Aileen, and thank you first of all for having me here. I'm really excited and honored that I'm able to represent TSG Hoffenheim here and in front of such an amazing group of people, and it's really great what you have achieved here. So thanks first of all. And yeah, TSG Hoffenheim, I have to introduce the club a little bit because I think not everybody knows it. And it's, I think, important for the context. Well, if you would have invited the whole village of TSG Hoffenheim, I think we would need, let's say, those 3 or 4 blocks there, that's done. Actually, they have 3,226 people living there, in case nobody was born since yesterday. And we are still competing with cities of millions, so like Hamburg, Berlin, Munich, and so on. So how can we do that? And we thought it might not be a good idea to do more or less the same things than they do. And so TSG Hoffenheim started very early with a strong focus on talent development. And they're using special innovative methods. They are doing it individually. Database, which is important, psychological data, physiological data, and at the end of the day, 1 out of 4 players is turning a pro, which is a really high quote for in the league. So the academy is regarded to be one of the best, I think, in Europe. And we have defined 2 major core values, which is innovation and responsibility. And what we only did then is that we transferred these values to the entire club. And the result of that is our future strategy, TSG is movement, with 5 central fields of action, which is innovation, youth and fans, ecology, Africa, and employees and players. And maybe Africa is something which is special because it is quite in contrast to the normal international approaches of the clubs in the Bundesliga, which aim for markets like the US, for example, of course, and China or Japan, for example. But to be honest, no one in Seattle is waiting for a fan shop next to the Starbucks at the Pied Marketplace. So, we try to do it a little bit different. And on the bottom line, it means that we say there's no growth for our own sake only anymore. And we try to combine social benefit and the development of the club on all these areas. Just one last short example is we have created a textile brand which is called Umoja. It is 100% produced in Uganda, one of the poorest countries in the world, to keep it as much added value in the country as possible. And there's not even written TSG Hoffenheim on it. So we use only the platform to bring it to the market. And so that's more or less a pattern how we try to implement a sustainable strategy, and in this case, 10% of the revenue goes back to Uganda to water projects in the country.
Wow. I'm just going to recap that for a few of you for a moment. 25% of their players go pro and from their development academy. And wait, let me back up. This is a town of 3,266 people.
26, yes.
26.
Yeah.
Possibly 27. It's the end of the day there, so anything could have happened.
22.
Or 22. Oh, no, we're not going to go there. No. No, we're growing. So 25% of the players are going pro. There must be a secret sauce there. You've developed your own clothing line that is coming out of Africa, out of Uganda, that is not branded with your club, but is for the benefit of Uganda.
Exactly.
And sorry, what was the third point out of that? I don't know, I'm flustered by the first 2. That's amazing. Let's stop there. Tell me more about how you came into this role. How is this happening in such a relatively smaller sports organization? And I think there's some amazing lessons here for some of our smaller teams, or maybe even our mid-market professional teams.
Yeah, I used to work in sports for a longer time, for a cycling team, T-Mobile team. You remember the arrival of Lance Armstrong at the Tour de France, and I was spokesperson there. And then turned to become marketing director at the HSV, the club in Hamburg. But well, this club was at that time the opposite of sustainable, ended up in League 2, and then I changed, started my own business, and so I worked for TSG Hoffenheim. And as they asked me to build up a CSR strategy in 2017, I was asking, what are we talking about? Are we talking about a few nice projects, painting some kindergartens and so on, or do we transform the organization? And it was pretty much clear that we have to do the second, and so it affects every single business model, including sponsoring, of course.
So this is what you've come to call the common value approach, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and I think you might have, do we have this up for everyone to see?
Yeah, it seems to be
Okay.
there.
Someone nod, yes. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about this common value approach and how it informs the entire organization.
Well, as you all know, the currency in sponsoring is range, the normal one, but if you look at TSG Hoffenheim, you can easily imagine that range is not the strongest item we have to sell compared with our competitors, and so we put in the middle of our sponsoring approach the impact, the story, which is based on TSG's movement, and we create the rights package out of that. And so it's not rocket science, of course, but it's really a change in the mind shift within the company, to be honest, and outside at the partners as well. But when we add relevance, because we do something for the society, we believe that we have additional benefit for the society, for the partner, and for the club. One example is we have, of course, climate is one certain issue for us as well. We are committed to be net zero by 2040, minus 50% by 2030, and we are compensating, offsetting the carbon footprint since 2019. And to engage our fans, we have implemented a so-called climate ticket, where you can add €1 more, and that's for tree sampling in Uganda as well. And so very low threshold, very easy, but we have an additional platform. We communicate with the fans, trying to engage them in each and every ticketing purchase. And so we were talking with a new partner, a solar energy company, and they were attracted by this platform. They wanted to be visible there, and now they are one of our main sponsors on the sleeve. And so it's quite a valuable sponsorship for us, and so that's how we try to shift the sponsoring approach for us.
And do you think that they would have become a kit sponsor, a sleeve sponsor, had you not had this program in place? For
sure not, because obviously, if you're a big company in Germany, TSG Hoffenheim might not be the first club on your radar. And so now it changed that way, that we have sponsors who said we renewed our contract only because of your sustainability strategy, and we are talking, in this case, only to you because of this strategy. So you're saying that there is, in fact, a way to beat Bayern München? Well, for those of you who do not know, Bayern München has won the Bundesliga for 11 years in a row. 11 years in a row. But on this, you're winning. Yeah, it won't be enough, to be honest, to reach Bayern Munich, but it's enough to stay in the Bundesliga and to stay competitive. And that's what we can do from our own strength, which we have worked on through this kind of holistic approach. Mm-hmm. And I know one of the things that we're seeing, the platform that you've created, you have been at this for quite some time, but I can tell you from our own work at 5T, we are seeing many organizations shift to this platform way of going for their partnerships because they see the incredible value. It's either being market-driven by the partners asking them, or they're understanding from their own core, look, if we work from our values, we can work smarter, we can have longer partnerships, we can have higher value partnerships. And I know you've done some research into seeing what that return on investment is of working with this kind of model. Yeah, we have another slide there. We've done a study with the University of Mannheim because obviously it's very complicated to measure impact, to measure well-being, education, less emissions or so. And so how can we bring that together with sponsoring? And what we did is that we made a study which was nationwide representative, and we compared a classical project and with a sustainable project, each with and without a sponsor being involved. And so, as you can see here, in every relevant dimension of the recognition of the sponsor, we have a positive effect. It's statistically significantly the result, so it's really gives us good arguments. It means the evaluation of the project, the elevation of the sponsor, the evaluation of the sponsor to be a sustainable company, and the willingness to speak positively about him gives us these results. And of course, we cannot go to a sponsor and say, so now the rights package is plus 25% the next time, but we have at least some argument which underlines that. And what we do at the moment is that we try to implement have another study to go deeper into that and to really be able to quantify this KPI for the common value approach. And if that's, again, for such a small club, at the end of the day, is possible, it's to implement a KPI for an own approach, that's quite a game changer.
Indeed, I would think not just for you as a club, but for the brand partner as well. Because with these kinds of numbers, if I'm interpreting this correctly, when they are doing an activation that is advocating for protecting your own health, they're seeing a 38% bump in the awareness and the response of consumers and fans.
Yeah, we have a sponsor partner. The naming right partner is PreZero, a big waste management company in Germany, and we have worked on a first certification as a zero waste stadium, which we successfully completed in April. So it's the first zero waste stadium in Germany, I think even in Europe. And so we are showing exactly the business model of our partner. It's a lighthouse, and hopefully we find some people who do that as well and copy it, hopefully with PreZero together, and so we come from footprint to handprint, and that's I think that should be our goal.
Okay. I'm going to throw you a tiny bit of a curve that we didn't discuss, but it's not a difficult one for you to speak to, but I would be remiss if I didn't bring up the fact that the Bundesliga is, to my knowledge, and I don't have knowledge of all nations and all federations, the only federation league in the world that has sustainability requirements as part of being a franchise within the Bundesliga. In other words, if you don't meet these criteria, you will not be allowed to compete as a team in this. And you have played a very important role in bringing this around and are now leading the Bundesliga Sustainability Commission. Can you tell us a little bit about those criteria?
Yeah, I think it's something like plus 100 criteria which you have to fulfill. You have to do lots of documentary, in a sense, sustainability context. But if you don't fulfill them at the moment, you are only sanctioned. You're still able to play there. So, but it's creates lots of dynamic in the market, and all the Bundesliga clubs the sustainability departments are growing, and they are going much deeper in that. And yeah, in the commission we said we should be the most sustainable league in the world. But if when the US leagues at the end of the day are better, I will certainly celebrate you guys. But that's more or less the goal, and I think we can reach so much as a league, as a group together, that should be the way.
Okay. And I want to ask one more thing of you, if you would. You also lead an organization called Sports for Future, and I believe the S20 idea is stemming from Sports for Future?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about the vision for S20?
Yeah. We are Sports for Future. We try to be an umbrella for those who try to engage in the climate crisis in sports, very low threshold, and we try to be very kind, let's say, and say, hey, wow, you have planted a tree, maybe you reach another one. But at the end of the day, all those small steps are maybe not enough anymore, and so we have to show the benchmark. And what we try to do is that we translate the SDGs for sports organizations in the backcasting model. So what's the real goal? How does sport look like if the SDGs are all done 100%? And we try to create pictures out of that and bring that to relevant platforms.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for sharing the TSG Hoffenheim model, sharing a bit about the Bundesliga criteria. And we look very, very much forward to having more exchanges with Germany in the future.
I hope so too. Thank you very much.
Thank you.